our little town looks like. This is our five corners where we have
the Beacon gas station, County Bank. That's about it, folks. That's the end of this one. Mission here. We're gonna go check out. We heard there was a Sweet Boys and jamming, so we're gonna see if we can sneak up on them and check out a jam.
Do you know what brotherhood is? Brothers are men who can receive each other's words without judgment. They choose to read each other's weaknesses with humility and understanding.
They haven't spotted this yet.
They understand what is meant when words are spoken and have the ability to interpret nuance and get exactly where thoughts are coming from, even when delivery is sometimes harsh or abrasive. You see, their life's history is buried in a pot together. They respect each other because they know the deepest sacrifices and understand the boundaries.
There it is. There's the agreement directly outside.
This kind of love only comes with time. Lots and lots of time. This is a story about 4 teenage kids from a small town in Central California who lived the greatest teenage experience any kid could ever hope for. Forming a brotherhood that 40 years later stands the test of time and exemplifies what lifelong friendship really means. And this is a rock and roll story.
Frankie Alcazar.
It was the Trinidad house. It was out in the middle of an almond orchard in the middle of nowhere. We could do anything we wanted. Friends came out, girlfriends came out, family came out. We rehearsed on a porch that was cold in the winter and hot in the summer, and it was a breeding ground for the deepest creativity. Of all kinds.
Oh, good. I think you left schnittlige on my finger. No, bitch, I picked it all out of there. Oh, that's
I met Kenny in 1979, Mitchell Senior Elementary School. We were both Kiss fanatics, and that's what drew us together. We used to build a full Kiss stage in my parents' garage with big wooden boxes and planks between them. We used to traipse across, invite all the kids from the neighborhood over, and any family that was visiting, and force them to watch too. Full makeup, full costumes that we'd made out of football shoulder pads and mom's boots, and sparklers for pyro.
Where is it out there? Said that you were a truly rude, crude individual. Is that the truth? Mr. Alcazar! Mr. Alcazar! Mr. Alcazar!
Kenny and Mike were already friends. They had done the whole Kiss talent show thing at their junior high school, and they were already hanging out. Must have been 13 years old, somewhere after 8th grade, somewhere in there. We did what a lot of young boys in our area used to do, which was race BMX bikes. Our first race, me, Mike, Kenny, was at the local BMX track. We signed up as straight up beginners and walked right up to me, and very naturally Mike said, "Hey, I'm Mike. Check out my friend Kenny's tongue. It's as big as Gene Simmons' tongue." And Kenny, "Show me your tongue, Kenny." Kenny stuck out his tongue like Gene Simmons. I was just like, wow, man, that's awfully cool.
You best get up. Don't get your hand out my feet. This is trippy, man. I think you better put down my guitar. You won't.
I ended up seeing Mike at one of the local You know, it was sort of like a vacant lot where all the kids would go and ride their bikes, you know, back in the day before tract homes took over. It was just like, hey, what's going on? And we had hit it off, but, you know, we didn't really hang out as of yet because we weren't going to the same school. We weren't really hanging out at the time, so.
I said you better put down my guitar.
I said, what you gonna do, motherfucker?
Get your nose out my face. What you gonna do, boy? Say, dude, mellow out, man. It's cool. It's all right. Peace. Peace, guy. Hey, man. I'll take you.
What you gonna do?
He said, he plays guitar. I was like, well, hell, I play guitar too. And so that was how that happened. He was a guitar player. I was a guitar player. So then all of a sudden we started hanging out and we started playing guitar together.
What you gonna do, boy? You ain't gonna do nothing,
man.
punk.
Don't be messing with me now.
Yeah, I lied. I played a shitty guitar. I played a serious cardboard guitar. But wasn't very good at the real thing. Frank was the guy. Frank played Stairway to Heaven in its entirety at his 7th grade talent show. And that was on a real guitar. No joke. No cardboard.
So I first met Billy because we both used to go to St. Anthony's school, Catholic school. That was kind of an experience. So,
me and Frank had been friends for a few years before, back in St. Anthony's days, believe that or not.
we met each other in 5th grade, and I think we met in detention, and there was something where, situation where Sister Ann was coming around, and I remember sitting there and watching Sister Ann telling Billy to straighten up, or I'm not exactly sure what was said there, but she was hovering over his desk, and I think she was going to try to pick him up by the back of his arm and maybe escort him out or something. And Billy was not having it, so he literally started throwing hands with a nun right there in the classroom.
I just seen these guys, they were like wearing bandanas and they had a rock and roll dream. And me, myself, you know, I'd be home alone, and I'd, of course, on the old TV console that had the record player, I'd play the old vinyls and in the mirror rock out to myself like I was a rock star.
And he started throwing some haymakers at Sister Ann.
I think I got my stage moves from my dad, because we'd be out there playing. Like I said, Dad liked country music. He'd come out there and do his country swing with his hips, and that led on to me being on stage and the way that I moved on stage too.
Billy was just kind of a nice kid, and we became good friends after that.
If we weren't nervous enough, first gig, didn't know what to wear, had some rabbit skins on my arm, and dog chains, some zipper pants. Boy, we were nervous. We were green as could be. Excited, hearts pumping.
We really wanted to make it special. We knew there would be a ton of people there, and there was. It was like attended by a lot of kids, and we had people bleeding out the doors and everything. So it was really cool.
Can we have everybody off the alma mater, please? Everybody off the alma mater. Do not lean against the alma mater. All right, everybody. Now, who did you all come here to see today? Sweet Poison, right? You all better hang on to your crucifix, because Sweet Poison will rock you out of your seat. Sweet Poison!
Come out there ready to rock and roll. Started an Aussie song, said I, and that was it. The mic went out. I'm looking around at everybody like, what do I do? They're still playing.
We just kept playing because that's what pros do.
couldn't hear him singing. You could hear everyone else. So we found out on the back of this PA, it will fry the wire out. So being the dumbass that I am, I'm grabbing this wire, I'm trying to hold this goddamn thing on there, and I'm getting shot to shit. His voice would come in and out, in and out.
Really, the wires in the back were frying. I'm not sure why there was electricity shooting through speaker cable, but that was wrong. And, we had everybody looking at that.
Finally, the janitor came up with this old 50s microphone. And all you heard when you walked in the gym, in the back of the gym, was his voice. Because it wasn't blended, all it was the PA running through the auditorium speaker.
We tossed them around. I think there's some flowers thrown out, but yeah, the crowd would just come up and they started rocking out like we were rockers on the real stage. Yeah, doing it up. It was great. The feeling was great.
We made a mark. Things changed at the high school, and people kind of knew who we were and kind of knew that we were serious. We weren't just these long-haired freaks roaming the halls of the high school there. We had a reason to be who we were and to look the way we did and everything. And I think people knew it after that for sure.
We were trying to figure out how to do pyrotechnics. See, like Crystal Light 2, we had big plumes of flames. And we got a Folgers coffee tin, poured gasoline in it, and we started throwing matches. It's gonna blow up. I thought it would be a great idea if we decided to replicate a picture of Nikki Sixx lighting his pants on fire.
So it was time to organize our first photo session. Mike Nunes offered his house and his accommodations.
They put together this really cool indoor photo shoot with tiki torches and lamps and all this stuff. And
did some torches, trying to make it look all eerie and everything. And then all of a sudden, one of the torches decides to fall down. And where does it fall down? It actually falls down on the wall, covered with black plastic, and ignites it all. Well, what I remember, we popped open the electric garage door. Mike and Kenny went running out. I mean, not Mike and Kenny. Frank and Kenny ran out. I think Kenny's hair caught on fire because he actually went right across the flames and he was patting it out. They had enough Pantene in there probably to start a forest fire.
Back in the day, we were all flammable, but we used probably the best hairspray. It was Aquanet, but it was the white can. And man, that stuff just made your hair stand up. Frank would grab me in headlock and just completely rub burn my head. And my hair would just go poof. And then immediately put that hairspray on. It worked. It hurt, but it worked.
And then Mike and I, like a couple of dogs, are throwing sand from this makeshift graveyard onto the wall, and finally got the fire out. I don't know where Brian was at. He was actually doing the pictures, He might have ran out just to save his ass and his camera equipment.
Mike had set up the graveyard scene with little tiki torches and used his mom's salad wooden bowls to hold lighter fluid. And I think somebody stepped on one or the torch fell over, and then everything caught on fire. And Kenny ran out real quick because his hair was on fire. And
there was a torch that fell over, and just a lot of flammables. And it was like a Q-tip. Caught my hair on fire, and I ran out and jumped into the pool.
And so then I ran over there and started kicking dirt on the fire, and I think Frank was doing the same. And the reason I say that is because 2 years prior, I had caught a fire in the grass over there with a spark plug. So I knew I was going to get in trouble if I let this one burn.
We didn't use any more flames after that, I believe.
Honor of Sweet Poison. I have the old demo tape, Till Death Do Us Part. And I got it signed by the boys right here. They were awesome. Motley Crue meets Rat. And everybody signed it here for me.
We weren't sure what we were going to do. We knew we wanted to go record, and that got our juices flowing. It's like that got us ready to do what we wanted to do. Put us in a professional zone or something, just kind of stepped us up on a new plateau, just the thought of that. And we rehearsed the crap out of those songs. We got them dialed in, we got them tight. All our rehearsals were nothing but those 4 tunes in preparation for the studio gig. It was like training for a boxing match or something. We just got it down. I remember finding Hot Tracks, an ad in the back of a BAM magazine, Bay Area Music, pretty reasonable. And I remember we bought about an 8-hour block, and we wanted to knock out 4 tunes in that amount of time. And we did. I got $100 here or something like that. Mike got some. We all had little jobs and things, and pulled some money together, some donations from folks and things like that. And I remember Mike Nunes came down there with us. He was our manager, and he had this little briefcase with him, giant stacks of cash. I think it was, whatever it was, $15, $20 bills or so. It was only about $300. It was very small, hole in the wall, sort of a studio on the Alameda, just down between San Jose and Santa Clara, I think. And a 16-track tape machine. I don't even know if it was a 2-inch tape machine, but it was nice. And they had a nice mic library. No isolation rooms, I don't believe. So Kenny was just back behind a partition there. I think we did pretty well in there. I liked the live room. I liked the acoustics of it and everything. And the man, Phil Jameson, we called him Filthy Phil Jameson. A nickname I don't think he appreciated. At least he didn't appreciate it as much as we did. Filthy Phil Jameson. He would just kind of look at us with, furrowed brows. Of course, we called him Filthy Phil Jameson because it was like after Filthy Phil Taylor, I believe, from Motorhead. So we just thought it was a cool nickname, and it was a rock and roll thing. So we wanted to put, mixed and engineered by Filthy Phil Jameson, Hot Track recording studio. I thought it sounded a lot better. I don't think he really appreciated it, but he was still a nice guy, very cool dude, and I think we got good results there. Came out of the studio, we needed to do something with it, so we immediately looked up Sure Sound. I think it was another BAM magazine find in the back, where CD duplication services. So, or I'm sorry, we weren't quite the CDs yet. We were cassette duplications. So I think we got, I want to say we got rid of about 1,000 cassettes during that time. We had a little merch table and everything. And that was our demo. That was the only demo we have. We had a few more songs afterwards, but we never did record them. So those 4 songs were all we had during that time. It was such a fast time. It was such a long duration lived in such a short period, I think is what it really felt like. So that's the Until Death Do Us Part story.
And this is a great unsung treasure of heavy metal. I mean, if you like Rat, Motley Crue, Dokken, maybe even leaning a bit towards Black Sabbath in some parts, this shit is awesome. 1984, Sweet Poison, Till Death Do Us Part.
A friend of ours from high school, Steve Kidweiler, did the artwork for the cover. We put out a short release and got the attention of Cindy Harbison, who was the mom of a very good friend of ours. She was enthusiastic about the band and had a bit of a music background of her own, and she wanted to manage. When she got involved, we put out a second release, and she got it into Musicland and a couple other local vendors where the cassette actually started to sell and do fairly well. By the way, imagine kicking back in a hotel lobby and talking to a genuine rock star with a fifth of Jack Daniels in his hand about your band. And you're 17. Definitely liner note worthy.
Impossible to find. You can't have mine. Fuck you. But I just want to give a shout out to Sweet Poison for being a big influence on my life and starting me on my heavy metal trajectory. And here I am now, an old man with makeup on, but I love fucking metal. Yes.
I'd have to say 1984 was the year I really got into heavy metal, because that was the year I got to see my first concert ever, which was Ozzy Osbourne on the Bark at the Moon tour with Jakey Lee on guitar. And then a couple months later, I got to see Rat with Fastway. And then towards the end of the year, I saw Wasp with Crocus. But it was the concerts that Sweet Poison would put on at this place called the Winton Hall in Winton, which is like a little town next door to Atwater. I think like 5,000 people or so. But those concerts had probably the most impact on me as a young musician, metalhead, getting into the scene. And the most, to this day, the most memorable. I mean, they had everything. They had the stage look. They had the, you know, the clothes, the hair, the makeup, and everything. They had the dry ice. They had cool stage lights. They did a drum solo, a guitar solo, and I think even their tall-ass bass player, Tori Watts, did a bass solo at some point. But they really made you feel like you're going to this big concert, like as if you were seeing Motley Crue in Winton, you know. But they were so much more than that. I like to think of it as like the world had Motley Crue and the world had Rat, but Atwater had Sweet Poison, and that was our version of Motley Crue and Rat. Frank Alcazar would do his guitar solo. He'd be just ripping and shredding, and he'd do this thing where he'd hit the low E, and then he would just do like a dive bomb with his tremolo, and he would take it all the way down real slow, and you just let it rumble, and you just like shake it, and I swear you felt the whole entire ground shake. I mean, it felt like this place, it felt like the whole roof was going to come down. I mean, your stomach, you felt it in your stomach, and to me, it was just such a rush, it was such a natural high, if you will. And that was our reason for every weekend or whenever they were playing to just get all excited and, you know, go put some makeup on, put our torn stage clothes on, you know, rags or whatever we were wearing at the time, bandanas and stuff, and and just go out and have a really good time, man, and just rock out.
So we would get our gear. I think Kenny would put duct tape on his shirts. I put some black duct tape on things, but we needed to keep going with our stage guard. Back in the early days, we were trying to get whatever we could get our hands on. So we'd head into Thrifty's and hit the pet department over there and buy them out on some dog collars and dog leashes and chains and whatever we could find in the pet section. And I think I had a big old chain around my neck, big old heavy thing, padlock, Chess King on the mall or someplace like that, and get fake leather pants or that kind of thing. That was before Hot Topic and all that other stuff that came up. I think it was later on, but Mike made these killer boots out of some big old fur. We used to call them as Chewbacca boots, looked like golden eagle legs or something, just these big old furry boots that came up mid-thigh, I believe. And he made those himself, so they were badass, man. Just looked cool.
And now a short intermission.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go.
Going into Thrifty's to grab some of those dog chains and grab some of those dog collars and things. We'd also make our way over to the makeup aisle, because I think after a while our girlfriends got kind of sick of us stealing their eyeliner from them. So we'd head into the makeup aisle there, and occasionally we'd buy one, occasionally we'd do what we had to do. We'd go in there and we'd go through the door and head through the makeup, and you'd hear over the intercom, makeup aisle, security, makeup aisle, please, security, makeup aisle. I think they caught on to us after a while, so, but it was our way to get, our eyeliner on back in the day, when we had to get right. Aquanet white can, some eyeliner, some dog chains. Hey man, Thrifty's was where it was at.
Hi, my name is Rob Beltz, and back in the early to mid-1980s, I was a freelance journalist known as a stringer for the Merced Sunstar's weekend arts and entertainment magazine called The Breakaway, and it was edited by Mike Blazer. And I remember distinctly Mike had called me probably about mid-spring, I want to say, of 1985. He said, "Hey, Rob, I've got this band that is made up of about 4 18-year-old kids out of Atwater, and they're called Sweet Poison. And they are a heavy metal group. They've recorded their own album, and they just finished a short tour of LA." Mike was really impressed. He was super excited. He said, "Rob," he said, "Hey man, you got to do this interview with these guys. Go as long as you can, and whatever you can get out of the interview on your tape and transcribe, we're going to print it." These guys just weren't a bunch of, 18-year-old garage band headbangers. These guys were the real deal. They were very dedicated to being the best musicians they could be, and they were making a big splash.
It was around this time that things started to kind of take off for us at the county level. We were invited to do more local, high-profile gigs and events. We'd been selected to take part in the Stroh's Beer Superstar Talent Search, which was something that we had gotten into through our management. We made it to the semifinals and onto their compilation album. During this time, we also won the 1985 Modesto Battle of the Bands. This was an ethereal experience for me. I played a lot of gigs in my 20s, but I could count on one hand the gigs that even came remotely close to that show. We were set up on the roof of the concessions building at the Ceres Drive-In movie theater. The sound and monitors were perfect, and the crowd was enthusiastic and amazing. And the band was firing on all 8. I remember there being a weird haze that reflected the lighting in a beautiful way. Maybe an early occurrence of the Thule fog that tends to blanket the Central Valley. Or maybe just my imagination. For a brief moment, we were untouchable, undeniable.
Boy, I tell you what, when the Breakaway magazine came out and their color picture was on the front and virtually every word that I had transcribed from my taped interview was in the Breakaway, I mean, it was a big, big deal. These guys were like local rock stars, you know, local heroes.
I think we filmed it, and that one and maybe a couple others, but I know we filmed that one last rehearsal just before we had the gig. And it was really special, you know, because that also meant that we were getting out of Billy's Folks House where we used to practice. I mean, from the day we started till the very end. But that farewell gig, you know, that farewell practice, it was kind of surreal. I remember being in there, going through the tunes and kind of hanging around afterwards, almost like, you know, not really wanting to go, you know, we didn't really want to break anything down or, but it was just kind of, we wanted to hang around and just enjoy it for a minute, savor that moment, I think. And then, because once we moved our rigs out of there and went to the farewell show, that was that.
Man. Hey, fuck! This used to be a turtle. Man. This used to be a turtle. Ain't that a shame? Dead turtle. We're on a mission from God. Man, I'm taking my shit home.
No, you're not.
Hey, fuck you, man.
Can't do
I
that
ain't
shit,
going
man.
for none of this bullshit rain. I guess then this is the last time we practice here. Good chance that we're leaving day after tomorrow. The final Sweet Poison practice. How intense. It sounded like fucking dog meat.
And it sounded like dog meat.
Yeah.
It sounded like bullshit.
But at least we captured that dog meat on film. Of course, what can you say? If that's ever published locally, I will sue. Mission Impossible. Have you ever seen a grown man naked? You ever hang around a men's gymnasium? Do you like it when Scraps rubs up and down on your leg? You ever been in a Turkish prison? Do you like movies with gladiators? No, he's not bothering anyone. Come here, Jimmy.
Sit down on my lap.
Come sit on Grandpa's lap. Fog up the lens, that's it. I just fogged it out, man. Good night, sweetheart. Good night.
Best part of the whole thing, you know, cutting the drum rug. It's really exciting if you'll notice the way we're doing it. Kent Jones is holding the carpet backwards. Well, I brilliantly cut the carpet as we go along. For a free brochure on carpet carding,
After you do it a while, you learn how to master it. Here we take the carpet on the stage.
When Dame came down and did his wall of sound for us again, this time I think he brought everything he had.
The thing with Sweet Poison that really stands out to me was, and I think this sets them aside from a lot of the bands that were happening locally anyway at that time, was the fact that they were, well, one, very talented. Each person in that band had major talent for, you know, what they did. They were also driven, and they were hungry for it. You know, they wanted that experience, that success. There was a lot of bands at the time that were out there doing all similar things, you know. But these guys had that rock attitude, you know, that edge that kind of separated them from a lot of what was going on around them and us at the time. Just creative people.
Damn, this thing telephoto's big time.
The Merced County Fairgrounds Pavilion was a new milestone for us. It was where we booked the farewell concert. It had a 1,500 seat capacity and was the biggest thing that we'd ever done.
Hi, Jack.
Hey, what do you say, man? Dory Watts.
We wanted to go out with a bang, and that place could make it happen.
We were all so young still back then and learning about life and the music business as well. And those were some pretty magic times back in those days. The music scene was pretty much exploding. Lots of venues to play. Crowds were relatively open-minded still about music, so that you could get away with playing relatively unknown original songs. And times in general, actually, when I look back at that. Yeah, good times. It was fun. I was glad to be able to work with them and help create some of that magic and help deliver some of that magic and energy on those shows that we did back in the day.
The farewell concert represented a lot of different things. It signified a turning of the page where a small band from a small town was embarking on a new life journey. And we would be relocating from our humble abodes in Atwater to the glamorous Hollywood, where we were going to claim our fortune. It was an homage to wonderful people who had taken care of us for 2 years. It was a show of respect to wonderful people who supported us in ways that I look back on with awe. Parents, managers, friends, roadies, and great friends.
See you later!
Anyway, Sweet Poison, rock on, rock hard.
Let's go for a ride.
It also signified the last day of my teens. From a personal perspective, I look back on it now, and that day marked the end of my teenage years. The end of a time when play and camaraderie was more important than winning and personal gain. Sweet Poison was indestructible. We were coated in Teflon. We were wild and out of control, but completely without fear because we were too young to know any better. We were a gang. I would never experience that again.
Some very special friends of mine. Sweet Poison!
We were selling out places.
People seemed to dig it. So we were all up and down California, the Central Valley, down to LA, and
Burning pictures of a distant past, or the black sheep of the city.
it was something to be proud of.
You got to put it in perspective. We were 17, 18, teenagers. Life don't get no better than that.
I appreciated everybody that went, you know. I mean, all the fans, everybody that bought our cassettes, everybody that had our t-shirts, all the folks that really supported us during that time. That's what the farewell concert was for, you know. Those fans, those people that believed in us and liked to hear what we did, you know. It was all for them. Heroes was a song that we wrote for our home crowd. And that was it. You know, it's the crowd in general, but really our home crowd that was very special to us, you know.
We considered it one of our best songs. It was written in early 1985, and I think we only played it once live. We actually handed out a flyer at the farewell concert with the lyrics of that song on it. It was a song that was written for the fans, and we wanted to make sure that everybody understood that. I asked Frank if he'd be interested in recording it.
I said, yeah, that would be cool. You know, I'm always down to collaborate with Mike because we both have our little home studios and things and like to mess around and stuff. And he came up with that and threw that out. And I was like, wow, haven't thought about that song in a long time. We ended up talking to Billy and he was like, of course, man. Yeah, down. And Kenny was like, yeah, of course. Hell yeah. Let's do it.
The internet has been a gift for old guys like us who don't have time in life to be able to get together and be creative like we did when we were kids. But thanks to technology, we can still send music back and forth and do things like we did back then.
I did my guitar tracks here. Mike did his bass track down where he lives. Kenny did it. And then Billy came over here and did the vocals. And so that was a really fun thing to do because it turned out really well, I think. We started kind of mixing it and stuff, and we went back and forth with Kenny's drums a few times until he got just the right sounds. And then by the time he brought it back here, and then I was able to mix it and did most of the mixing myself here. And we have that one song. We wanted to redo that one song, and I'm really glad we did. I'm proud of it. And it was the belated gift to our home crowd.
Home crowd is still, I can't wait for them to see this and hear this, and it's going to bring so much more to life. Whenever I see people and they're like, what are you doing wearing that shirt? What are you doing wearing that shirt? I was like, you don't know nothing about this shirt. Well, what are you doing? I said, I'm Billy. You're not Billy. Yeah, I'm Billy Trinity. I'm the singer of that band. They're like, no way. Yeah, I am.
One of the cooler things about being in a band, there's a love for something that is, I think, more important than any one person. This, cohesive nature, and it's natural. It just comes from within you, and I don't know that a lot of people have that, and I appreciate it all the time, and I know we all do.
They're the ones that really made that time special for us, you know. I mean, here we are talking times when we were, geez, man, 80, what is that, 30, 35 years ago, almost 40 years ago. We're getting older. And so we still reminisce about those times because they were special, very special to us.
Nobody could ask for more. It was a great childhood growing up, and it still carries on to this day. And I can't wait for our home crowd and our fans to finally get to hear this this remix of our last song, Heroes.
Everybody that showed up to our shows, everybody that bought our tapes, everybody that wore our shirts and everything, thank you, because you made our dreams come true. Just to be able to savor those years is special, because here I am still thinking about it right now. And here we are making a little documentary about this thing right here because it was that special to us. So for the heroes.
Yeah, 70, yeah, 65.
What do you think of this angle? This is like a
Likely gay or? That's better.
See if I can
turn that knob. Yeah, and then drop that thing down because it's gonna hit Peter's side on.
Hell yeah! Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
legends are born and made, not from the book, but from those who care. The only way the hero dies is by forgetting the people who put him there. You create the tribe, you make up the rhyme. In a life so short, you always found time.
Want to say something cool?
Good night, sweetheart. Good night. Let's watch Tori Watts drive down. Well,
That's
why
not
don't
it.
we pass his ass, huh? He's going a little slow for my buttocks. Shall we have some musicians interlude?
Big influences on our musical career.
I have to say they had a big influence on a lot of the local bands, or even people just kids that just wanted to start their own band.
Sweet Poison, very influential band to me growing up.
We tried to dress like them, we tried to act like them, followed them around school.
They looked cool, they had long hair, they wore makeup, they'd walk around high school with earrings in both ears.
Because what Sweet Poison did was they set a bar. They set this bar that you had to reach. You had to hit this mark if you're going to be playing shows in Outwater.
Big influences on my life. Cut it down.
Fuck today, baby.
We're 95 KDJK, Oakdale, Modesto, Stockton.